A stranger's shoes stole my home used to feel safe, until that morning when a stranger's shoes showed up by the door. Heavy, unfamiliar, taking up space like they had always belonged there. One weekend guest turned into a silent invasion, the woman who once promised, just us against the world, suddenly rewriting the ending without asking me first. And just like that, home stopped feeling like mine. The first time she mentioned him, it felt small, harmless, a name I didn't bother remembering. Someone she saw, now and then. But the second time? The second time, he wasn't just a name. He was a plan. A future. Right. An ultimatum waiting to happen. Prom night wasn't supposed to feel like an ending. It was supposed to feel like celebration, like something I'd remember as one of the last bright moments before college. But I knew, before I left the house, that everything was already different. She didn't ask me if I was ready to meet him. She told me like it was inevitable, like my permission had never really mattered. And when I got home hours later, long after the music had faded and the laughter had died down, those shoes were waiting. He was still there the next morning, sitting in my chair, using my mug, filling my house with noise that didn't belong. She smiled like it was the most natural thing in the world, like I hadn't just been pushed out of the life we built together. Mother's Day was supposed to be ours. One last little ritual before I left for college. One last reminder that I still mattered. I spent the last of my money trying to make it perfect. Her favorite chocolate, those ridiculous singing balloons she always pretended to hate. I set it all up in the living room and waited for her to notice. She didn't. Not that day. Not the next. She was too busy laughing with him on the couch. Too busy letting him rearrange everything in the house, like I was already gone. When I asked when he'd be leaving, she didn't even flinch. He's staying, she said like it was nothing. The words hit harder than I expected. He wasn't going anywhere. And if I couldn't accept that, I could leave. The house that used to be my whole world suddenly felt like a place I wasn't welcome. Like I had overstayed my invitation in my own life. I grabbed my keys and left without a plan. Drove until the streets felt unfamiliar. Parked in an empty lot. Sat in the dark with my dog curled next to me, trying not to fall apart. It wasn't new. Not really. Just another chapter in the same story she kept writing, picking someone else over me, over and over again. Each one temporary. Each one stealing a little more space until I had nothing left to hold on to. She always said I was jealous. That I didn't want her to be happy. But all I ever wanted was to not feel like I was standing outside looking in on my own life. I almost didn't call. Almost let the silence stretch until we both disappeared into it. But I needed to say it. Needed to tell her what it felt like to be erased. She didn't apologize. She didn't promise to change. But she did something I didn't expect. She listened. For the first time in years, she actually listened. And when she told me he wouldn't be staying that weekend, it didn't feel like enough. But it felt like something. I could have moved back in. Pretended things were okay. Let her believe I was fine with being second again. But I didn't. I stayed.